Good evening. I'm Alan Jackson, welcoming you to Nashville, where the leaves are not only turning colors, they're actually just turning to memories. The ducks, they're headed further south. It's a change of seasons, and here it's a bit more gentle than some places in our country. For me, it's a study in contrast. It's a holiday season, a time to be thankful and for expressions of kindness. And I think there are many obvious reasons that we can all be grateful. All across our country, there are examples, if we'll just look around a bit. The Daniel Penny trial in New York has come to a conclusion. A Marine who was accused of recklessly choking a man to death on the subway, what could have been the tinderbox, and we'd seen one of our cities once again explode, seems to have been resolved for the most part with a return to common sense and a respect for our ability to be in public safely. The Middle East, Bashar al-Assad has been removed after months of conflict in the south of Israel and Gaza with Hamas, and in the north with Hezbollah. We've seen both of those Iranian proxies and their reign of terror be diminished by a series of remarkable activities on behalf of the Israelis. There's still tunnels with hostages in them in Gaza, so we're not quite home yet. Continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. But Bashar Assad, a brutal terrorist authoritarian leader, has been removed. There's no doubt celebrating across that region today. We've survived another election season, a mostly peaceful election this time, an election that seems to have taken place without great accusations of malfeasance and the boiling that we saw 4 years ago. Across our nation, DEI is receding somewhat. We're actually witnessing a return to character being championed before appearance. That bodes well for all of us. I just pray we can find our way with that same improvement through academia. In Washington, D.C., the most improbable things are happening. They're having open discussions about cost cutting and returning to efficiency. They're even having the brazen boldness to suggest that federal workers might go back to their offices. Folks, it seems like wherever we look, there are expressions and reasons to be grateful this Christmas season that extend far beyond the packages you may have collected beneath a tree or whatever your approach to the Christmas holiday may be. Well, tonight, getting along is our subject, and our guest is a man who knows about it. He has overcome and lived through hatred. He understands forgiveness, the art of persuasion. David Harris Jr. He's an author, podcaster, and activist. A growing number of people listen to him each week, and tonight it's our turn, right after this short break. We're back with David Harris Jr. He's a keen observer of our culture, and he's studied the anger we see around us. He's a leader among conservatives because of his eloquent and thoughtful embrace of conservative principles. And he has a lot of listeners. David, thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely, Pastor Allen. It's an honor to be here. Absolutely love TBN. I was watching that when I was a teenager. So I've been a long-time watcher of TBN for decades and love your show as well.
Well, we're grateful to have you on tonight. Is it fair to say that you were pleased by last month's election results?
Yeah, I would say that any warm-blooded, patriotic, Bible-believing American should very well be overwhelmed with exuberance and joy over the outcome of this last election. I mean, the lines couldn't have been any clearer. The Democrat Party just continued to push everything that is anti-Christ, really, in nature, pushing the woke mob agenda, pushing everything trans, sexual on our kids, trying to basically tell our children that God messed up when he created them and put them in the body that they're in, which is exactly what that whole mission of the trans woke agenda is doing. So from that to abortions, abortion on demand, anytime, any place. Outside of the DNC, they had an abortion bus driving around, literally giving abortions. Everything that the Democrat Party, I think, used to stand for, it doesn't any longer. It pretty much today stands for everything that I believe is against the Bible and against people of faith. And I think that every individual, and I'm not the only one, of course, with the popular vote going to President Donald J. Trump, I think the American people have woken up to the woke mob agenda, and they don't want it anymore. And Bible sales are actually soaring. So I believe that we're on the beginning We're at the precipice of a true revival and awakening of hearts and minds to know our Creator, our Papa God, and Jesus like never before. I truly believe that's coming. It's here.
Well, you have written about the deep divisions in our country, some rooted in race. How do you think the incoming administration should approach racial division?
Well, I think what President Trump has done, if we look at what he did in his first term in office, he did a lot for the black and brown community. Black unemployment was at a historic all-time low underneath his presidency. He gave and pledged donations of money to the HBCUs, historical black colleges and universities. He pledged more money than even Obama had given, and he made it permanent with 10-year funding so they didn't have to come back every single year and basically beg for money. So what President Trump has already done, I believe he will continue to do more of. But when it comes down to it, everybody in America, no matter what your race or your background or your color, we all want to be safe and feel safe in our homes. We all want to feel like the American dream is real, that the American dream is for all of us. We all want the opportunity to have gainful employment or be able to retire knowing that our money isn't getting wasted by the government. So I think that as President Trump comes in with his new administration, with Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr., at his side to help make America healthy again, with Tulsi Gabbard coming in, Elon Musk coming in with Vivek Ramaswamy to head up DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, to make sure that our government money, our tax money, isn't being wasted by the government. I think that so many of the individuals that he has brought in is going to do so much for this country, for our economy. It's going to reduce inflation. It's going to stop the government waste. And they want to be very transparent about that government waste so that we, the people, can actually see what's been being wasted and also know that it's not going to continue to happen. So I think that as he continues to do what he can and what he will do to make America prosperous, safe, and great again, I think that's going to impact all Americans, and all of us are going to be able to say, thank God President Trump won this last election.
You know, as everybody's reflected on the election and tried to dissect the outcomes, one of the conclusions seems to be there was enormous impact by the podcasters. I mean, Joe Rogan was probably the most obvious, but platforms such as the one that you have clearly have captured the hearts of millions of Americans. What were you saying to your viewers in the weeks leading up to the election?
Well, you know, I have a show now on Newsmax called The Pulse. It airs at 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Because my podcast was doing so well on my own, Newsmax reached out and said, hey, we'd love to have you on our show, on our network. So The Pulse airs Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I just continue to break down the facts of what's going on. I have amazing guests on. Last night I actually had the founder of Black Lives Matter Rhode Island on. His name is Mark Fisher, and he started that Black Lives Matter chapter with the initiative and the agenda that is par for the course for the whole BLM movement, which I believe is rooted in a lot of misinformation and disinformation. And he actually woke up from that. He said, you know what? It's not as bad as we're led to believe. Like you opened up in your opening monologue when you were sharing about Daniel Penny. That could have been it could have boiled over. There was actually another chapter leader for Black Lives Matter New York that spoke after Jordan Neely's dad and said, you know, we need to have our own, you know, black vigilantes out here. They can't just be choking us. And this whole, you know, rah-rah about the white man just choking out and killing the black man. And it's like, this wasn't racial. It wasn't racial. But yet everything in that agenda, from BLM to all the Marxist organizations behind it, all the leftist progressive organizations, they want division. And that's the best and simplest way to do it, is to divide us based on our skin color, which is ridiculous because we didn't choose our skin color. It's not like we had anything to do with it. God created us all the way that he did, and he created us all male and female. He created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So when they want to divide us and confuse us, then they win, because we're then bickering and fighting amongst ourselves. So what I shared leading up to the election was have faith, and I shared vote early. I think it was pivotal and monumental that President Trump went on all these different podcasts. He went on podcasts that, for one, Kamala didn't do any podcasts because there's no way she could handle a 1, 2, or 3 hour podcast like President Trump did. But he was reaching out to the young vote, to the black voter, to the Hispanic voter. He was showing what he's all about, what he stands for, and he was willing to be asked the tough questions, and he gave the answers. And I think that was paramount to his win. I also believe what was paramount was vote early. That was the main thing I was telling my audience leading up to the election was vote early. We cannot leave all the votes dangling in the wind on the final day of election on November 5th and then allow who knows what to maybe switch and change on the final day. So I think that voting early, so many states voted early that on the final day, there was only between 20 to maybe 30% in a lot of states votes left. Well, it's kind of hard to change or shift anything when so much of the votes already come in. So overall, I believe God had grace and mercy on us as a country. I believe that even Joe Biden taking the Oval Office in 2020, I absolutely believe was a part of God's sovereign plan. I believe that he allowed that to happen to wake Americans up. And this time around, President Trump has, like I said, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy. He's got J.D. Vance as his vice president. He has such a stronger, healthier, more robust team and administration for this 4 years. This 4 years will do 100 times greater than what he could have done had he taken the Oval Office in 2020. So I believe we're sitting pretty, Pastor.
Well, I think you're right. He has quite the robust cast of characters going with him to D.C. If President-elect Trump were to ask you what he should do in his first few months, how would you answer?
Well, I think he's actually made it pretty clear, and I stand by it. I think in his first 100 days, he's going to secure the border. He's going to put the executive orders back in place that Joe Biden rescinded on his day one that led to the worst, most open, porous border in our nation's history. He's going to secure the border on day one. He's going to go after the cartels. He's going to take the gloves off when it comes to finding and deporting the individuals that broke into our country. You know, I'm all for legal immigration. We are the most benevolent country in the history of the world. We give to all these other nations around the world, but we are a nation of laws. And I believe that President Trump will allow ICE and the Border Patrol and the local law enforcement agencies to work together to find the criminals. The numbers already came out. I reported this on my show. There's over 16,000 verified convicted rapists that are roaming around, illegal immigrants that are roaming around the country. Over 30,000, 35,000 total convicted of a violent assault of some kind that are just roaming around our country. They're violent criminals that are illegals that are in the country. They know the local law enforcement agencies have the ability to reach out to ICE and network and coordinate together. That's one of the things that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did was they said, we don't want these agencies working together. They basically have to turn a blind eye. They can't communicate. So I believe that he's going to make along with Tom Homan, our new border czar, who I love Tom. I've had him on the show about a week or so ago. Tom Homan is a bulldog when it comes to the law, when it comes to our border. I think he's going to make the border secure. He's going to lead the largest mass deportation effort to get rid of especially the illegals, the criminal illegal aliens. And then he's going to, he's already given us a greater sense of peace on the world stage. If you look at him going to France for the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral there, all the world leaders, they're smiling. They want to shake his hand. They understand true leadership. And that's something that we have not had on the world stage for the last 3.5 years. Unfortunately, I think we've been a laughingstock. But he's going to bring back that peace. He's going to secure the border. I believe that the tariffs and what he plans to do and how he plans to utilize the tariffs are going to make it so that inflation begins to drop. These other countries that we're giving so much money to on a yearly, annual basis, we're giving money to all these countries. Most of them aren't paying back. It's not reciprocal. We don't get anything back, and they ship their stuff here. They import their stuff here. I think that he is a brilliant business mastermind when it comes to finances. That's why he's the international business mogul that he is. And that's another amazing thing that I'm glad and excited that we've got somebody that really understands money and business that's going to be leading our country. So the economy is going to turn around. We're going to start to feel safe. Deportations are going to happen. Counties and districts and cities across the country are going to have a lighter load because, again, with 15 to 20 million plus illegals that have come right into this country, there is a detriment and a weight to schools, to hospitals, to local check-ins, to, just local DMVs. Even though they weren't supposed to be getting licenses, DMVs were being overran, especially before the election. You could put two and two together. But I think the first 100 days, President Trump is going to do a lot to turn the ship of the United States back in the direction of prosperity, back in the direction of peace and safety, and it's going to be a beautiful thing to watch.
Well, I agree. There are reasons for optimism. Congratulations on your new program on Newsmax.
Thank you. Thank you so
David
much.
Harris,
Number one show on
I want to
Newsmax,
thank you so much.
Newsmax N2.
Number one? Good for you.
Yeah, it's a number
I hope you'll
number
come
one
back and
show
see
via
us
the
soon.
app. Yeah. Absolutely would love to,
Awesome.
Pastor Allen. Would love to. God bless you.
Well, stay with us, and I'll have a hopeful message for you to think about right after this break. I think we all understand that the message of Christmas is a message of hope and joy and excitement. Those are all good things. I love the season of Christmas. I like everything about it. I'm not confused. I know the purpose of Christmas is not a fat guy in a red suit, a reindeer that can fly. I understand the meaning. But the reality of this time of the year is for everybody isn't always a joyful time. Oftentimes we arrive at this season of the year and we have heavy hearts. Lots of things contribute to that. We may have lost someone we love this year. It may have been a difficult year for us. There may have been challenges. It may just be a disappointing time. Whatever the reason, there's something we all need to remember. Norman Rockwell painted fantasy. He painted those beautiful pictures of holiday tables and perfect family gatherings. Even the turkey was the perfect shade of brown, roasted to perfection. Folks, life's not like that. We arrive at Christmas, most of us, with warts and scars and nicks and scrapes and a bit bruised from the year. Most of our plans didn't unfold as perfectly as we would like, and we face challenges this Christmas season. You're not alone in that, and I don't want the pressure of a perfect Christmas to rob you of the privilege of quietly saying thank you to God. There are things in all of our lives for which we can be grateful. It doesn't require perfection either within us or around us in order to have a heart of gratitude and thankfulness for the goodness and the blessings of God. I had a meal this week with a friend from Israel, and he said they have over 100 blessings a day that are a part of their prayers. I don't think I quite make that target, but I'm determined this Christmas season to have a greater sense of gratitude for the world around me. If it's not a perfect circumstance for me, I'll thank God for the people I see that are in the midst of circumstances that seem to be so good for them. It's Christmas time. The very least we can do is be grateful. I'm quite confident if we'll do that, there are more reasons for hope than there are for despair. Well, that's my message tonight. And after a short break, we're going to go through some of your emails to hear how you're acting on the details of our program. Thank you for taking the time to share your emails with us. Your thoughts and perspectives do a lot to shape our program. Judy from Palmdale, California wrote, "You spoke on Syria. I didn't realize Turkey was in possession of part of northern Syria. What are your thoughts?" Well, I think what we've witnessed in Syria lately was a remarkable expression of the grace of God. Now, there's a power vacuum there now with Assad's departure. The future of Syria isn't clear. Turkey certainly has some ambitions. I don't think Russia is going to withdraw voluntarily. It's an important time to pray that God will direct the events so that the people in that land avoid the slaughter and genocide that could very well await those Alawites with Assad's departure. Don't stop praying. K&T in Southeast Pennsylvania said, "Well done, Pastor. Speak truth every night. Your personal comments are so powerful and instructive. Hashtag we will not stop. Praying daily for you to keep it up and stay on the air for your nightly AJ Now editorials. Jesus is Lord. Amen." He certainly is Lord, and we can all use our voice for that declaration. And finally, Nancy from Fayetteville, North Carolina. "Pastor Jackson, I watch your sermon every morning and your program at night, and I'm so encouraged and informed about how the church should be more available and present in our world today. I've learned so much about our political stance and our responsibilities as a church. Your message is so refreshing. I would love for you to write a book to include such simple and spontaneous prayers that we can use to be a blessing and to be the light for the world, for someone each and every day. God bless you." Well, I have good news, Nancy. I have several books of prayers. You can go to the website. I'm sure they're listed there. Everything from Let's Pray to Awaken Us. It's a whole host of prayer books, and I agree, prayer changes everything. Make sure to send your emails to comments@allenjacksonnow.com. And from all of us here in Nashville, thank you for joining us tonight, and you have a wonderful evening.